Imagine being just 14 years old, lost in the Australian bush, facing a scorching 42 degrees Celsius. Sounds like a nightmare, right? This was the reality for Dennis Deer. This isn't a tale from a blockbuster movie, but the bone-chilling ordeal of 14-year-old Dennis Deer. On the eve of a new year, in 2012, Dennis found himself in a situation that would make even the most seasoned survivalist shudder. He was missing, alone, and battling the unforgiving heat of the Australian wilderness. The mercury was rising, hitting a searing 42 degrees Celsius. The scorching sun overhead, the parched earth beneath, and the vast, unending wilderness all around. Can you imagine the fear, the uncertainty, the hopelessness? But Dennis was not an average 14-year-old. He knew something many of us don't: Aboriginal bushcraft techniques. On a day that should have been filled with joy and celebration, Dennis found himself alone in the Australian bush. It was New Year's Eve, 2012, the cusp of a new year, a time for fresh starts. But for 14-year-old Dennis Deer, it was the beginning of an unimaginable ordeal. The Australian bush, while beautiful, is harsh and unforgiving. The terrain, dotted with dense eucalyptus forests and arid, rocky outcrops, can be treacherous. Now imagine navigating this as a young boy, lost, with the mercury inching closer to 42 degrees Celsius. The scorching heat was relentless, the air thick and dry, sucking the moisture right out of everything it touched. In the midst of this, Dennis faced an immediate challenge: water. In such extreme heat, dehydration is a silent, rapid enemy. But Dennis's situation was complicated by the fact that the Australian bush isn't exactly brimming with readily available drinking water. Then there were the creatures of the bush. Australia is home to some of the world's most dangerous animals. From venomous snakes to aggressive kangaroos, the bush is not a place you'd want to find yourself alone in, especially not as night falls. Speaking of nightfall, temperatures in the bush can drop dramatically, and without proper shelter, hypothermia becomes a very real threat. Dennis had to find a way to protect himself from the bone-chilling cold that would soon descend with the darkness. As the sun set, the reality of his situation set in. But Dennis was not ready to give up. Dennis knew he needed to act quickly. He recalled the Aboriginal bushcraft techniques he had learned. In the blistering heat of 42 degrees Celsius, he was alone, lost, and faced with the daunting task of survival. But Dennis was no ordinary 14-year-old. He had knowledge and skills that would prove vital in his fight against the elements. The Aboriginal bushcraft techniques, passed down through generations, were his lifeline. His first priority was water, the essence of life, and especially crucial in the scorching heat. Drawing from his knowledge of the bushcraft, Dennis knew that he could find water in unexpected places. He began searching for the curly bark tree, a species common in the Australian bush. This tree stores water in its roots, and Dennis, using a sharp stone, managed to extract precious, life-saving moisture. Finding shelter was his next challenge. The sun was relentless, and Dennis knew that prolonged exposure could prove fatal. He remembered the Aboriginal technique of building a lean-to shelter. Using branches and leaves, he constructed a makeshift refuge that provided some respite from the harsh Australian sun. It was a simple structure, but it was enough to shield him from the heat of the day and the chill of the night. Food was another hurdle. But again, the Aboriginal bushcraft came to his rescue. Dennis knew that witchetty grubs, a staple in the Aboriginal diet, were a good source of protein. He searched the roots of the acacia trees and found these grubs. They were not a gourmet meal, but they were nutritious and helped sustain him through his ordeal. Each day was a test of his survival skills, his resourcefulness, and his will to live. The Aboriginal bushcraft techniques not only provided him with the means to survive, but also gave him a sense of purpose and focus. He knew what he had to do, and he did it with unwavering determination. In the face of adversity, Dennis showed remarkable resilience. He didn't let fear or despair overcome him. Instead, he relied on his knowledge and survival skills, making the most of what the wilderness had to offer. He used his ingenuity and his understanding of the Aboriginal bushcraft to turn a desperate situation into a story of survival and hope. Every decision Dennis made was a testament to his survival skills and determination. His story is a powerful reminder of the strength of the human spirit and the importance of survival skills in the face of adversity. It is a testament to the wisdom of the Aboriginal bushcraft and the resilience of a young boy who refused to give up. Days passed, and just when hope seemed to be dwindling, Dennis heard the sound of rescue helicopters. This was the moment that marked the beginning of the end of his ordeal. The rescue operation was a massive one, involving not only the local authorities, but also a host of volunteers who had come together, determined to find the 14-year-old boy. Dennis was spotted from the air, his makeshift shelter standing out against the rugged wilderness. The sight of the helicopter was like a beacon of hope piercing through the despair. As the rescue team approached, they found Dennis, a picture of resilience despite his ordeal. The condition Dennis was found in was a testament to his strength and survival skills. Dehydrated and exhausted, but alive and in surprisingly good spirits. His knowledge of Aboriginal bushcraft techniques had served him well, helping him to survive in the blistering 42 degrees Celsius heat. It was clear that his survival was not just down to luck, but to his resourcefulness and determination. The rescuers were astounded. Considering the harsh conditions, his survival was against all odds. But Dennis had proven that with the right knowledge and a resilient spirit, it's possible to face the most challenging circumstances and come out on the other side. The rescue operation was a success, but it was Dennis's survival skills that had kept him alive until help could arrive. His story was a stark reminder of the power of human resilience and the importance of survival knowledge. It also highlighted the crucial role of the Aboriginal bushcraft techniques in his. As the helicopter lifted off, whisking Dennis away from the wilderness and back to safety, the enormity of his ordeal began to sink in. He had faced the wilderness and survived, using the wisdom passed down through generations of Aboriginal people. His survival story was nothing short of a miracle. It was a story of a boy's courage and determination, a story of survival against all odds, a story that would inspire and captivate people around the world. Before we dive back into this incredible tale of survival, we'd like to take a moment to thank you, our viewers. If you're enjoying this amazing story of Dennis's resilience against all odds, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more captivating content just like this. Your support allows us to continue sharing these powerful narratives that inspire and motivate us all. Let's take a brief moment to reflect on Dennis's story so far. Here's a young boy, lost and alone in the wilderness, who used his knowledge of Aboriginal bushcraft to survive in the blistering heat. His courage, his determination, his refusal to give in is truly inspiring. It serves as a timely reminder of the power of human spirit and the importance of survival knowledge. Now, as we prepare to delve back into Dennis's journey, ask yourself this: how would you react in such a situation? What survival skills do you possess? Think about it. Now, let's get back to Dennis's story. Brace yourself, because his tale of resilience is far from over. Let's continue with our journey into the wilderness with Dennis as he proves to the world that the human will to survive can overcome even the most daunting adversities. Dennis's story is not just about survival. It's about resilience and the will to live. It's about a 14-year-old boy who, against all odds, managed to endure extreme conditions that would have tested even the most seasoned of survivalists. Dennis Deer was lost in the wilderness on New Year's Eve of 2012, and he faced the harshest of elements. The temperature soared to 42 degrees Celsius, a heat that could easily sap the life out of anyone unprepared. But Dennis, despite his tender years, was not unprepared. He had the knowledge, the skills, and the determination to survive. He drew upon techniques of Aboriginal bushcraft that he had learned, showing us that these age-old practices still hold tremendous value in our modern world. He understood the land, the plants, the patterns of the wildlife. He used this knowledge to find shelter, to find food, to find water. But it was more than just survival techniques that saw Dennis through this ordeal. It was his resilience, his refusal to give in, his unyielding spirit that kept him going. He was alone, he was scared, but he didn't let fear control him. He took control. He adapted, he persevered, he survived. And when the rescue came, it was not to a broken, defeated boy. It was to a survivor, a young man who had proven to himself and to the world that he had the strength to face adversity and come out on the other side. Dennis's story reminds us that in the face of adversity, the human spirit is capable of extraordinary things. Remember, knowledge is power. Never underestimate your ability to adapt and survive. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.